Hello everyone, Voodoo here, and we just got the first information revealed for 11.2, the new patch coming for the War Within, Ghosts of Koresh. Now this looks pretty exciting. A lot of stuff was revealed today, not everything of course, hopefully PTR either later this week or next week. But today's video we're gonna go over it, and I want to talk about a little bit about potentially a third Demon Hunter spec. So like, comment, subscribe, let's get into it. All right, so here we are on the official blue post from World of Warcraft, and they have a video that actually was pretty sick. You should go check that out. I'll link in the description, I guess. There's a lot of stuff coming. So the big things here for me are the new zone, new city, new raid, new artifact weapon, a new dungeon, and then a bunch of the new class update stuff. And then of course, Havoc, or Demon Hunter. So first off is Koresh, the new world. So I figured it would be Koresh when we got that spoiler at the end of, I think it was the campaign that showed the Void guy stealing the Void Heart and looking over a broken planet. Koresh is the home of the Ethereals. We've known about it for a while, but it looks sick. There's another picture at the top here. If I just scroll up, that you can see of like Koresh, like broken Void landscape, super sick stuff. I'm actually really excited for it. And a lot of the visuals they showed look really cool as well. The other cool thing is that Tazavesh is back in more ways than one. So this is going to be the new hub city in the zone, which is super sick. I love Tazavesh. It's one of my favorite dungeons of all time. And the zone is just super sick. And the dungeon's also back, which we'll touch on. And the new raid is Mana Forge Omega, which is like this big thing siphoning mana from the home world. And the final boss is Dimensius. Dimensius has come back from TBC where he was fought. I believe it was just a fragment of his power. But I believe this time we are fighting all of him, and he is a huge guy. It's literally the biggest raid boss they've ever made, I believe they've said. It looks gigantic. It looks like honestly such a sick fight, and they really hype it up a ton, so I'm actually super excited for it. I feel like this will be like a super sick, epic, monumental fight. Just like Dimensius is this huge void, like world eater guy. So I think fighting him is gonna be super, super sick. And of course, there's a Demon Hunter boss, which we'll get to after. There's a new artifact cloak, which I think is interesting. So this appears to be something you upgrade over the weeks that like scales with you and allow you to do a new type of content called face diving. So you can like go into the ethereal zone. It seems like this will be involved in both the dungeon and the raid to go into the ethereal zone. So this will be important for the whole patch. Unsure what other powers it gets from you. I'm sure if it's just like a stat upgrade that comes with your cloak, or if there's like special effects or benefits. We don't really know yet, but it will upgrade and scale with you as you gain an eye level. No idea how, but there is a new forward power system, I guess you could say, to go along with this zone and patch and stuff like that. Yeah, phase diving is like this new thing. There's like 2 worlds, new delve. Gonna scroll past that. New system that I think is kind of cool. As I kind of study paleoecology. You call it ecological succession. You're like creating this like Jurassic Parky like zoo inside one of these ecodomes they have on the planet to like fill with creatures to repopulate the planet, which I think sounds kind of cool and fun. New dungeon, which looks gorgeous, honestly, which is one of these ecodomes where you find like devourers and ethereals and a lot of stuff from Shadowlands coming back, which is interesting. But interesting, we get that stuff there, and of course that leads to the new dungeons. So in the pool we have Halls of Atonement, which I think is fine. We'll see how that dungeon feels without all the Venthyr gargoyles, because that was like a huge part of the first time around being there. But it's a pretty straightforward dungeon. I believe it's only a 3 boss dungeon, if I remember. I don't remember no, it's 4. Sorry, there's a boss inside the church, but it's a pretty popular dungeon. The first time around is one of the easier dungeons in Shadowlands, but of course a lot of that was because of the absolutely bonkers Venthyr like special ability you got, where you could just get these gargoyles that would obliterate packs. So we'll see on that one. We'll see what happens with that. Both sides of Tazavesh are back, which is amazing. Tazavesh Streets of Wonder, I think, is one of my favorite dungeons of all time. I absolutely love the vibes of that dungeon. And Sully's Gambit is also pretty good. However, obviously some of those bosses can be kind of tough. We'll see how they change the one boss that involves like a code thing. They've talked about making it easier in pugs, which obviously was a big downside the first time around. But Tazavesh is an amazing dungeon. I love Tazavesh. I think it's the best mega dungeon they've made. And it's also coming back as a mega dungeon. So for season 3, the first week of the season, well, not the season, like the week the patch comes out, M0s will be open, and Tazavesh will be a mythic, a mega dungeon, which you can do on a hard mode to get rewards that way. So first week doing a Tazavesh hard mode will be pretty big for gear, and I think it'll be pretty fun, like little challenge. We have Irakar, City of Echoes, fine. Nothing crazy, but like no crazy feelings about that dungeon personally. Loot's very good. It's fine. It wasn't one of the worst dungeons that season. I don't know if it was the best, but it was pretty decent. Dawnbreaker's back too. Dawnbreaker's a sick dungeon because of how much like optionality you have. Hopefully they do like a few changes with how the ships work, but I think overall I'm pretty happy with those two coming back. Same with Priory and Floodgate. I love Floodgate. Floodgate's probably my favorite dungeon from last season. Actually I'm going to rank everything, I think, on Monday's video. But Priory is also fine. I mean, like, it's pretty visually gorgeous. Hopefully they tune down the Paladins a bit, because I think those guys are kind of crazy, but good overall. And of course, the new dungeon, which again looks pretty sick. We'll see what happens inside of that. They're doing an update to checkpoints as well. So these are called waystones. So you can visually see them on the map now, which is huge. There'll be this marker wherever the checkpoint is, which again will be pretty nice to let people actually know where you can release and where you cannot release. Updating classes, no mention to Havoc obviously, but Shadow, Brewmaster, Frost Death Knight, and Holy Death Knight, and more. And then class sets. So we're going to talk about this picture in a second. What I want to talk about first is this. So this is a picture of one of the new bosses in the raid. All we know about it is that it's a council of demon hunters that have somehow made their way onto Koresh. We don't know how, and we fight them in battle. Now, they don't look that different. They don't look that funky. What we can see here is a pretty stereotypical Havoc looking demon hunter. You have the very classical like wide glaives that Havoc uses, and a very traditional like Havoc kind of garment that you find a lot of NPCs in the game with the big horns and stuff. Over here, we have a very stereotypical Vengeance themed demon hunter with the curved glaives, which again are very, very iconic for Vengeance. They have more of like heavier armor, right? Like it's more restrictive, but it's bulkier to protect them more. Again, more iconic towards Vengeance. And again, they have the curved horns, which traditionally Vengeance demon hunters have still. Then there's this guy in the middle. What the hell is he doing here? If we zoom in on him here, shout out to Wowhead for this. We're seeing a void themed demon hunter here, with like dark purple clothing, these sick glaives, which I'm only assuming these are going to be like either an epic weapon that drops in the raid that has a special effect, or at least the glaive transmog for this season, which would be hype. And then we see like purple cloak and hood and like really like dark kind of void theming on this demon hunter. And it very much could be nothing, but it's very weird that we have a demon hunter boss in this raid for no reason. Because again, we're hunting Dementius, which is not a demon. There are some demons in the void, like you can get demon souls from them, but generally speaking, void things are aberrations. I guess Dementius, I think technically was a demon back in the day, but I think with today's like cosmology, it wouldn't classify as such. Not brushed up on my demon lore here, but it's very weird that we have a very clearly Havoc demon hunter, a very clearly Vengeance demon hunter, and then a third demon hunter here that's void themed. Now, this could mean nothing, and a lot of people have said, oh, that's probably like just Havoc's or Demon Hunter's tier set for the season, which I think would be pretty disappointing. It does look cool, but I don't know if it's really going as far as I want it to. But I don't believe that to be the case. So if we go back to the previous thing here, these, I'll try and zoom in as much as I can. These are the tier sets. And I believe this is the Demon Hunter one. A lot of people have said this might be Druid. I don't think that's true. If we look at other tier sets here, they're very like spec focused, like class focused, like Paladin, this might be Monk, Rogue, Mage, Warrior, Hunter for sure, Warlock, and maybe like Shaman or something. They're very like agnostic to the raid in general. Like they're kind of like, this one's kind of arcane themed, this one's kind of arcane themed. But in general, like they're very much like class focused. So I don't think it makes much sense for the Druid one to be Fell Druid, which doesn't make sense in the slightest, and then to have a bunch of demon horns everywhere. So people call these antlers. I believe they're horns. I believe they're demon horns, especially if you zoom in really far. I don't know how far can I zoom in here before it. Okay, I zoomed in too far. Here we see like this segmentation almost here, which is demon horn, right? This is probably a demon skull of some variety. So I think this is Demon Hunter. We won't know for sure for a bit, but that means that what this guy over here, we go back to this one here, this guy is not wearing the Havoc tier set or the Demon Hunter tier set, which it would be weird. Like, why would they do this if not to be a little coy about it? Now, I think there is a big chance that this just turns out to be nothing, as Blizzard is wont to do. But I think there's a real chance here that this Void Demon Hunter turns into something and turns into either probably a new spec. I don't know if it's going to come in 11.2 or 11.2.5. but I think it might come at midnight. And I'm gonna have a whole video like deep dive, like we had Og show up before, and obviously like this isn't like the craziest thing to happen if we get like a Void Demon Hunter. I'm gonna do a deep dive video I think next week going over what I think a Void Demon Hunter spec could look like, which I think would be a fun thing to do. But this is really weird because, again, doesn't make a ton of sense why there'd be Demon Hunters here, especially if you're just going to have a council, right? Like, very easily they could have just left a Havoc Demon Hunter and a Vengeance Demon Hunter, and that could have been the boss fight. There's a lot of fights in the game that are just 2 targets, council fights, that you have to fight like that. But they deliberately added a third one and deliberately made it Void themed when we have a Havoc themed one and a Vengeance themed one. So it's really odd if this turns out to be nothing, but I think this could be something with like what we're seeing here. Now, I might be reading too much into it. I think there's a real chance that this is a teaser for an eventual 3rd Demon Hunter spec, because it is the only spec in the game that has 3 or less. That has less than 3. Druids have 4. That's why I messed that up. So I think a 3rd spec obviously is something that people have been asking for a long time. I have a video from like 2 years ago or so talking about it. But I think this might be it. I think we're gonna get something here. Now, the rest, they didn't really show much more. We do know that tier sets are going to be, where am I? Here we go. They're hero talent focused. So they show the Arms Warrior one that's like Colossus based. And presumably there's one more for each other hero talent spec. So each spec will have 2 options. I think this will be better than last season, right? Because they are still spec based. The Arms one revolved around like, I think Execute and Mortal Strike or something like that, which is obviously arms related, even though Prot would share it. So I think we will see like more specific Havoc stuff, which I think is better than last season. But of course, we'll see how that works out. We don't really know too much more. Hopefully there's PTR soon. But that's kind of it. So I just want to go over what we saw, go over, I think that there's going to be a new Demon Hunter spec at some point over the next year and a half or so, year-ish, which is super exciting. What that could be, I don't really know at this moment. Again, I will try and have a video like next week, maybe the week after, talking about what I think it could be, which would be pretty sick. There's a lot of ways they could take it. But I think this is pretty exciting stuff. The zone looks cool. The raid looks cool. Dimensius looks like an insane boss so far. And obviously, the Demon Hunter boss is really interesting, because why would that exist if not to tease something when we have 2 specs and they could have left it at 2 characters, you know? They added specifically, deliberately, a Void Demon Hunter to that fight and made it look unique. Could be something. Anyways, let me know what you think. Are you excited for this? Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I'm not crazy with this whole 3rd spec thing? And let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, push it for 15,000, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. By the way, probably no video Friday. I think this will replace that. I was going to go up on Wednesday, but this will be in replace of it. I'm away this weekend, but I think that there should be enough time for me to finish a video for Monday. But so no video Friday, unless we get like some crazy stuff. And see you guys around. Peace. A big thank you to everyone watching my videos, but especially to my channel members. Thank you, Alexander Trifunovic, Rukaza, Fear Redefined, Loose Change, Jorge Polanco, Matthew Barr, Zuligan, Chocobo Merc, Gabriel Correa, Matchman 133, and Falafadar and Dark Terror. Thank you so much to everybody. If you want to join and support me in making videos, consider following the link below. I will be adding more perks to this over the summer as I get more time, including log review, which isn't available right now. But again, I do appreciate everybody just supporting me and watching the videos. So I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Peace.